So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us today. I'm joined today with Matthias. We have a lot of things to discuss in this vast topic. So, hi, Matthias. Morning.
Thanks, everyone, for having me here. Hello, and let's start with our journey around this topic.
Sure. So, the disruption in the world of data and all of the AI and the analytics topics, it's creating for us and for all professionals, even on the citizens, a new world to explore, a new things that's happening on all kinds of businesses, all kinds of sectors, the financials, health, education. So we see a lot of trends that is changing the way that we know the world. The health, now you can see a surgeon doing surgery. He is in New York and the surgery is done in Dubai with the 5G and the new technologies. With the ChatGPT that we have and the likes, we can see a lot of changes that's anticipated to be in the education system as well. You cannot give a project to a student and ask him to create a PowerPoint for a topic, and then with a click on his laptop, he can generate it. So we are anticipating changes that's going to be changing the whole world moving forward. But if we want to take it on different topics, we can start with the IoT, Matthias. So if you can share with us the IoT topic.
Of course. So first of all, we need to make sure that we really understand what data is all about. We have unstructured data and structured data, and most of the people talk about quality and non-quality data, but it's really about understanding what we are using the data for. Talking about smart cities and IoT, we have like the PLCs, the edge devices where you compute or do it for autonomous driving and all these tasks where you need very fast and very rapid interaction with all the edge devices. So in this for this kind of data, we use like protocols and yes, we make all these devices on the edge and the data that they produce so that we can easily access the data and process it. But on the other hand, there are many more data sources out there, and as humans interact with all these devices, we need to make sure that the devices can handle the data that comes from the human interactions with this data, because we have different data structures, as I mentioned earlier. So talking about IoT and smart cities, this is my first time visiting Dubai. I'm very impressed. I give you an example. I like to compare Dubai to the Formula One because we have all these amazing technologies, these engineers working and putting together these really exciting new technologies. So just like in Formula One, we are fighting for every inch, for every second, and we see this here in Dubai as well. So IoT and smart cities. For example, we build new technologies that will then later go into production, or from Formula One go into production cars. We see this in the IoT space as well. So we build these PLC devices that can monitor and give us information about how to maintenance stuff and how to increase efficiency, and then later we can replicate it for other countries and other applications and other like cities that are not so evolved like we see this here in Dubai.
Excellent. That's taking us with the amount of data to the utilization of this data generated from all the IoT and the devices that's generating this massive data. And from this topic, it will take us to the complex part of the cloud and the edge computing, Matthias, which will be the the key engine behind the data generation, storage, their availability, and also the utilization of it. So from the edge computing, how do you see this moving forward?
So cloud infrastructure is very important for sharing data and also, like you said, storing the data, make it accessible for everyone, and that we can work together on these data sets. But also the edge is very important when it comes to high speed, like I said, autonomous driving, or like in industry automations, we need high speeds, so we need to make sure that we can compute these data at the edge of our networks. This way we can improve maintenance and improve like having in our factories. Yesterday, for example, we talked a lot about digital twins and the metaverse. So for example, if you have a digital twin of your factory, you put this data sets and information into the cloud and prepare the factory if you reassemble something, or like to, for example, build something around the factory. Yes, you do this in the cloud. But if you're really looking into the factory and try to understand what processes are happening right now, then you do this on the edge, because we rely on these high speeds.
That's correct. So with all of these, this will be the next topic after the IoT, the edge computing, the cloud computing, is how we can utilize this data and this amount of data, which is going to be your the next oil, as we call it in this region, how to make it in a way using the analytics, the AI, in order to predict, to prevent risk, to predict next decision, how it will help you in the decision support. So from predictive analytics, if you can shed some lights on this, Matthias, because this is the topic that everybody and every business sector is looking after, how they can take the data and generate data-driven decisions using the IoT, the massive data generated as well.
So I'll give you an example. If you try to start a business and you have no idea what business to start, there's a simple difference. If you start a business with no money, then you really have to understand your customers, your clients. You need to think a lot about what you want to do. If you start a business and you have a little bit of money in your bank account and you have a background, there's all this data out there. So you can just go and buy it, and on this data, you can make predictions and generate AI models. With the help of AI, you can get insights about your company, about your customers, about your potential clients. So the data is out there, and we need to make sure that we really understand what we are going to do with the data. For example, if you take a river and the river is the river flow of the data that is out there, we have a lot of businesses that already do the same task. So for example, you have a marketplace, an e-commerce business, they all rely on customer data and use it for marketing, build AI models on how to enhance marketing strategies and build a better experience for the user. But what is going to happen with all these businesses if the river of data flow suddenly disappears? You know, you have when you have this data, it's all fine. But when the data suddenly disappears, you really have to understand what your business is about and what your clients want. And you cannot just get these informations from like doing surveys or analytics in sales, for example. You really have to understand what is the next trend to be up to date and change your business model. So for example, we focus in the financial market not following the mainstream, not looking at the data and like waiting if the market goes up, it's all fine. The market is rising, so everybody is making profits. But what if the market suddenly falls down? You need to be prepared and get insights from the data. What is going to happen if suddenly the direction changes? And by making predictions and using this data that we have around, we can create our own company data and get our own company data sets. And I think the disruption will really be about making models and prediction about your company insights and company data rather than making it on the mainstream data that it's already out there and that other companies are already using too.
That's exactly how everybody is looking into the analytics. Now, if we need to have this predictive, but to make it on the real time, because now with the space of the business and the immediate availability of the data, immediate availability of the analytics, immediate availability of the tools that we have available in the market, to make it faster decision, to have the predictive analytics on real time, to have the machine learning. And this is what we are seeing everywhere. Even with the ChatGPT and the likes, to have these adopted is key to move forward. That's on the first step to move. On the second one, how you can govern these machine and their learning, how you can have your AI not biased, to give you biased decisions, how you can have ethical AI using the machine and the machine learning. And one critical thing that everybody is watching out is that once the machine learned, you cannot unlearn it. And once this predictive real-time analytics is available on your storage, available on your cloud, on-prem or public cloud, even if you switch it off, the machine has learned already. They have learned on your data. They have learned on your models. They have already acquired this learning, and it can be, if it is learning the wrong way, that's giving you a very, very tough time and tough decisions. And this is where the governance of these AI and the other tools that's coming in the market needs to be more strict. And this is how we see in Europe, States, and other part of the world, very cautious in utilizing these in the business, especially whenever it's touching the citizens, whenever it's touching the personal data and the rest. What do you think about this?
That's a very good point. So let's split these into two different topics. First of all, if we focus on e-governance, for example, or on ethics in AI, we need to make sure that the ethics that are applied are fitting our society that we live in. So if we have different ethics and different people from all around the world, you also have different cultures, and you cannot make an overall statement on how AI ethics should look like and how data should be processed, because all these different cultures have their own points, like where we set the focus on what's important for the ethics to be like, what it's important for the AI models to yes really look for and to make fair decisions. And also looking at the business side from that perspective, when we always tend to look to the future, so we are talking about what will be in the future, but if we look to the past and to the company's business history, we see that when there was no AI, who was making the decisions? You can say, of course, the CEOs and the business leaders are making the decisions, that's right, but they also come back to their teams, come back to their employees and get their feedback, and also that's a kind of ethics and business in business. So you see, the AI that we are building must get the feedback from the people and really understand what your business is all about. It's not like we can create general guidelines to follow, but we really need to understand what your business is about, and then we can apply those feedback loops into the creation of AI ethics and guidelines.
That's correct. So, how to have an ethical AI and how to certify these? Who can say that this is an AI tool that's being created that's not biased, that is ethical? Especially, it could be on the business, on the financial sector. It can be on the health. It can be in the government, and it can be on the education system, oil and gas. Small decision can, or small deviation from the ethical data can change a global matrix. So also, if we look at it, if we have the IoT, we have the edge computing, we have the predictive analytics, the data visualization was also a key aspect on how to see the data. And from visualizing the data, how you can manipulate it, how you can change it, how you can put more factors, how you can enrich your analytical models. I think this is another topic that we can touch on, right?
Of course. So for us humans, visualization of data is really important to understand what it's all about. For machines, you don't need to visualize the data to get insights and make a decision based on this, but we really need to visualize it like using graphs or other visualization methods, and to really understand what the data is all about. And we're seeing this coming back to the topic of AI ethics. So if you visualize these like kind of outcomes that you have from your data sets, you can see at some point where the AI might get biased and made wrong decisions or predictions. So in order to avoid that, we need to build a process to always like visualize and then go back and also implemented within the development teams, and also from a security perspective, we tend to do this already. So we implement like to the DevOps team, the security officers, so we call that DevSecOps. That's what we're already doing in the security terms. So why we don't implement that also to predictive AI, so that we always go one step back and check if there is any unwanted outcome of these models that we are not expecting, or maybe just do a check if it's properly working.
Yeah, that's a great insight. On another one, which is an entry to my next one, which is the security and the privacy and data privacy from the GDPR and personal data protection, plus the security from the fraud level, from the cyber security. This is a topic that's going to be waking up all CIOs and CISOs. So this will be the next challenge. And I think this, for the last couple of days, many ladies and gentlemen has touched on it. But it's good to see from the rounded figure of this topic how the security and the privacy of this will be taken into implementation in order to protect an end-to-end process for the disruption and utilizing the AI, right?
Yes. So talking about this topic is, I'll give you another example. So if we have a smart city, who is making the decision on how or which data is processed? So you have the citizens. Maybe we see it like here. We went to this conference by taxi, and we always hear this noise when the driver was speeding, so we get a speeding warning. So you have these good ideas and you want to use them and to implement it in the smart cities, but you also have to have to comply that and the new ideas with the citizen. You need to make sure that the citizens agree on that technology and on how their data is used and how their data is processed. So that's a really important thing. And we have all these guidelines. For example, in Germany, we have the DSGVO called security guidelines. We have the GDPR. So we have all these regulations, but for the government, it's a problem itself. They are not this one solution on how to work with the AI and implement these regulations. So as I said in the beginning, for each country there are different cultural and different backgrounds. So we need to adapt these things to all the different countries. And in order to make sure, for example, when we talk about smart cities, that the data is processed and used in a fair and unbiased way. So if you, for example, go to computer vision, you need to make sure that these models are not trained by like the big tech companies coming from Silicon Valley or the US. You really need to make sure that you build businesses and government is building models in their country. So if you go to computer vision, you might notice that if the models are trained on white Caucasian males, that it may be an unfair bias if you go to other countries like in Africa, and they maybe get facial recognition wrong or do unfair changes.
That's correct. So all about the trust, and to build the trust in the users or the end consumer of the AI. This is the key way of adoption, and that's the key way to have ethical, to have governed, and to have non-biased AI. This is taking us to the governance. This is taking us to the laws and the regulations that will be governing this utilization, even governing the new invention in this. So we have seen small players that they have went into giants. We have seen small disruption that went into life changers. I will take the example of the ChatGPT and the OpenAI. This has changed the way people are adopting AI. So to have all of these governed in a way that everybody utilizing it, everybody getting the benefit of it, is key critical. Plus, on the new disruption, you cannot be away. So people are always afraid to be the next Nokia, which they were doing the great things, but they want to be like they're out of the market for no reason. And this for the non-adoption of the new technology and the new trends. So from the governance and the trust that needs to be done into this topic, I think this is a great things to close the circle around what we've discussed, Matthias.
So in security, we have different ways to adopt these. We have the DevSecOps and best practices in security, but we also have new technologies, for example, like the zero knowledge proof technologies, which enable us to prove. We have a prover and a verifier, and we can prove that, for example, a certain model is used to validate and process this data without revealing the model. So using ZKPs, we can make sure that we can build up the trust for our let's assume you are a startup, you're building relatively new technologies to provide to other businesses. So we're talking B2C. So you can use these measures and these CKP technologies to prove to the big customer of yours that you're really using and processing the data through this one AI model that you build. And that is what creates trust along or across other businesses and builds up relationships between businesses, because it's all about trusting each other and making sure that your business partner is really capable of what he's pretending or saying. he's capable of. And that's a big problem right now in AI, because AI is such a big and really rising topic that everybody nowadays is talking about AI and using it. So for example, in Germany we have this one brand, which name I will not say, but they are making toothbrushes, and they say that they are using AI in their toothbrushes. So basically it's a true statement, I guess, but what do you think about AI in your toothbrush? It's not like the fancy models or like this. We really need this technology, and it's just a marketing thing, basically.
Yeah, that's correct. So it's touching all aspect of enhancement. That's touching the revenue generation aspect, the cost reduction. That's touching the marketing. That's touching the way the interaction, B2B, B2C, and the likes. And this engine was gonna be required by all businesses down the road. Otherwise, there will be a lot of players that's gonna be very late into the game. So with this chaotic approach of the adoption of AI, from the data generation all the way to the analytics, data visualization, to have proper governance, to put the security around it, I think this will be the next topic, even not from the IT. Now we're talking about the business users, where they used to be away from the technology, like a couple of decades back. Everybody was doing his own work regardless of the IT. But now the IT and the AI and the analytics is a core function within the business itself. So how we adopt it across, so the doctors are going into the AI, bankers are going into the AI, even on the front line. How you are approaching the market, how you are getting your next best offer to your customers, and so on and so forth. So the AI is going to be and which is already the topic of discussion for everyone. Even I've just mentioned a while back in the education, the students. Now you see most of the students, they are generating videos and PowerPoints, essays, projects with the click of a button. That's taking us also to the deep fake that we are seeing all around. So how you trust the source of information is also key, and is going to be having the right disruption that we need to take care, and all businesses to take care, even end consumer to take care of this topic. So thank you so much on this, and that's a topic everybody is looking after. Any question from anyone?
Maybe I'll just add one statement. So that's a good point. When we're talking about security and building trust, we also need to make sure that we help non-professional users to also get access to these technologies. And we see these emerging and evolving markets all across the globe. So we need to make sure that users that are not familiar with these new technologies can use it in a safe way. And also talking about being too late, there are many success businesses out there that are still not using a very vast amount of future technology and not going to swim on these trends. But we need to make sure to help them implement it into their businesses, and need sure to support them by using these tools if they are not familiar with it or not know how to access these technologies. That's a very, very important point. And lastly, talking about the real disruption of data, we heard a lot that we need quality data. So we need good structured data. And from our approach, I can tell you from a developer side, if you ever try to produce code and bring it to online basically, or push it into production, you will see, you think you have built a good product, and at the moment that you want to run it, you will see that you get a lot of errors. And talking about good quality data, I can tell you that these errors are good quality data. It's not like sometimes you are only missing some values or only having small mistakes in your code, but the feedback that you get and these errors that you get, that's also good quality data. So you really need to understand to focus on this as well, not just having quality data from other sources or other providers, but also if you see errors, you can use these insights to build models themselves to just predict what errors can occur and then get the insights from why they occur. And I think that will really be the next disruption in AI. So basically, right now, we are only building the models to work with good quality data, but the real disruption will be making these predictions and models work with bad quality data and handling errors.
And this is what everybody needs to avoid, and try to put the measures to avoid it. Great. Thanks for discussion. And if there are any questions, we're more than happy to even to discuss, not even a question.
So any questions?
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.